Firstly, I'll go over and highlight. Secondly, I'll provide an update on key developments. And then finally, I'll ask the you've again seen significant that include inappropriate attitudes. Of areas, so those wards, Larimar, Eden, EQ. And we've also provided intelligence that are taking place in Wayside, I think in November, and Jasmine, Sweet Motion. %, of our total have a long-term health. Our cultural. Thank you. Faith and religion, we are united. Remain autonomous in how things move forward. I thought it would be good to create some balance. So 50% of our champion network we board which is really developments in our team. That advert for another guardian will be 0.6, so 3. And we think initially that we'll focus their attention and their visibility results from our staff survey that will inform tool, which is included also by Ruth Rickson, the NHS England asked us to allow January 2024. Whether that's an adjunctive to the existing policy or so it is quite different and just England are hoping that we adopt. sign this off. Can I our journey towards gaining greater assurance about culture, improving the quality and consistency of we embed speaking up across the organisation, creating an excellent place to work and providing that it's included the freedom speak up or some of our board members. So actions required that into 4 columns. So workers, we will support our workers to continue increasing the level of supporting with an accessible freedom to speak handbook for all. And so I have and also offering colleagues in the afternoon, maybe early. So from our leadership and development, we will work management team to have a set agenda space spaces, and as was approved today, the priorities that we've set out. Our colleagues are aware of the improvement. We also hope to integrate our freedom speaker learning safety bulletins. And with regard to this group, making sure that we triangulate intelligence. So the final column then is the health. So we hope to re-establish the team. We do have quite a lot of. So I've just pulled out a few examples.
Really, so it's just really about whatever we do centrally, all the stuff away, the wants, how we just get that.
Usually how we drive this forward, so I think
it's right. You do. So operationalising in that way.
Aligning all opportunities that you've got to influence culture, to find out who are those people. Most concerns come from. So our organisational development team go. So that they can, how we ensure that we're getting the feedback. So I think it's the question you're asking is much more.
And just recognising.
You've got really good. This is right or software. But by the time you come to the board, it's just for assurance.
Yeah.
So, somebody in our hands up.
Actually, with concerns raised, do we? And then the second point, which is probably not necessarily for now, but something that you may want to consider, is perspective. Is there mileage in opening this up? And a complaint or a CQC. Because I think the sort of the freedom to speak up environment for the patient cohort might be a sort of a slightly softer way of actually, raising an issue, raising not a complaint necessarily, but a concern. So it's just something to think about. I'm not saying it's something you ought to do. You might think you're looking something dodgy, but
That there are some forums that already exist. Last time about these. So that's in its early stages, but you're right about the fact that are we aligning those? Are we taking a strategic perspective?
so at the moment,
Yeah.
concerns.
Just
That's
something
the
to think
framework
about.
with one which we yeah.
System that was set. So that will link in closely with those other areas as well. We had an app, so people could download the free through that channel anonymously or named. And then I said I'll get you some information on that on the app.
Helpful in your report as well, Emma, in terms of still open. It would also be useful for them to have an
Time, but those are all things. So I think we probably have cases are resolved as yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make some comments. Your point about champions. This is the point that you're making, the fact that you're and then I just wanted to say something responsive from both are. So, the experience of people. So if there are delays, it's further in the process, it's not. And also that we've got a number of this conversation. Well-being, because you with the right support and well-being, given the kind of role that we're asking you.
Don't look after yourself emotionally. That's a space, obviously. And issues that we
Yeah, I think it was just a reiteration. That's really why this.
Okay, so moving back to the agenda, we're going to go over
To alerts for the board to consider. Retention. So with recruitment, target of 60 international recruited nurses is not yet achieved. The Trust has welcomed to continue the recruitment. And I'm sure Patrick will give us an update. Trust also remains below trajectory for recruitment of plans in place to explore other opportunities around international recruitment. And this will be brought to the committee once. In regards to sickness, there are some challenges in regards to staff returning to work from long-term sickness, occupational health, and this occupational health department. There's also around the flexible working, and there are some plans in place to look at addressing the reasons why some flexible working requests are being rejected. And there's also, as we mentioned throughout, issues around the spend on in regards to assurance, staff story on the staff suffering with menopause. One of the impacts of that is that women are through that point in life. So the trust is doing all it can to support staff through that phase of life. Appraisal's done, completed. I think it was nice.
I think it's in that region.
Yeah. As well, so that's very good report assurance. And there's also work underway around, and the staffing tools that were being commended. Safety. The committee wishes to advise sickness absence, which was expected for the time of year, given that we won't speak any more about the freedom. Just presented their report. In regards to board assurance, improvements to continue to there's been positive discussions insurance risk and also sickness.
Who've been appraised, 97.2%.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But when we were thinking about the clinician this morning, talking about the likely that the most tools going forward, how we would have something different. Some areas we can see that actually that these are work that I spoke about that. You know, as a system, where have we
then that's the process, and that's the so all that is going, you know, from the North perspective, so that's there. So we did work with you know, it did need. So that, again, that's really just what's going on, and why that's going on, and you know, we potentially will need to increase some of the establishments. Part of the CQC inspection. That would work. It works really well in the south, isn't it? It works really well in the south, but in the north, we have 12 HCAs, but all of those posts were actually filling gaps. So we've supported Emmanuel and the team to they hold those posts centrally in their. So just give us some assurance you still fill any gaps or bring in additional staff.
This report is the sixth. This will fluctuate during the year. Or more likely, people don't. That. Now, I absolutely time to. Yeah, I think
Even for
My inquiry more about the recruitment. And the registered health as well. This one, because I'm
say that the last cohort besides that, we are telling you, I've already applied. Will give us that opportunity as well, so we're not going to spread
establishment by this number of this particular, this, that. So the point about work around our workforce. That's led us to a place where we're saying there are 4 priority areas of work. So one is around, I think you call it the 4 in an open conversation, sharing our staff survey work to help us understand what we can collectively work on. Our turnover figure as a trust is becoming more and more important. Is established, and that 4th I was going to say about whether or not offering those.
Very conscious of time, degradation. So we contracted to do specific initiatives. For the improvements. In brief, this is about how I don't know background. Looking into okay, so
You're quite right, yeah. Yeah, so in terms of the audit committee, another example of the committee, four point of view, you can see in the updates, there were three areas where they got partial assurance for the organisation. In terms of complaints, that was nothing new, we heard that before. Keepers and also at this sworn from the, so we expected that. But the important thing, they gave us pointers on our plan. And what we're doing is absolutely the right thing. We design third party point of view. Waiting times, partial assurance, that was it. But in many ways, that is separately an emergency preparedness. Outside of our control. Inference there that we need to improve online ourselves or with process. That was good to see. The other thing that we didn't take to committee, but share myself, Chair of Keepers and we've got great assurance we counter fraud. Their reports on that, and we agree with the counter fraud plan. The clinic, we've got also great assurance in terms of having a clinic. It's been more knitting together between our finally we did have a look at the back. Just reflected this discussion here. So that's all identified. But if they want to add in more, because
which generally set up in provider is going through, which will go through the organization for checks. Yeah, so that will definitely come.
again, good meeting. All the funds that we have and spending. Showing the funds grant approved. See the size of that down here. Showing effective collection of funds, so sometimes people can saying it does happen. So you can put your cash in the bank. You just can't if you look around. maybe in areas that were not. My colleague Monica, she's really important to say about what are the parts of the market, and also putting some of the care.
Ensure funds are invested ethically. Checkpoint that looks at where we get our donations from. So, for instance, if we get a donor, Bat Industries, for instance, the tobacco industry gives us a percentage.
Situation.
Yeah.
And this,
I actually chair.
I think you're right.
So the checkpoint for that is Jasmine Martin, finance team.
what's coming on.
Demonstrated I think about that.
No.
My recent visit to the Zinnia Centre, I know you. I wasn't going to talk specifically about of our value statements, but the whole visit, encapsulated all three values in abundance, in my opinion. So, as soon as I walked through the door, service user, colleague, whatever, but I actually felt as if I, not therefore what I wanted to do, who I wanted to come and see, etc. And then we went to see the staff teams and the wards. Facility that they adopted, not only for their patient cohort, but for themselves as well. So there was a lot of good self-healing, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of teamwork to make sure that their colleagues were kept well. It's a very, very tough environment. And they also worked on this on an initiative called the locality model, which really demonstrated the sort of end-to-end
That by Emmanuel showed a great degree of and compassion and commitment. As I said, he could get a job as his freedom to speak up report as well. So that two things below that, which bullet points around courage to question, help us to learn and improve and grow together. The bullet point beneath that is treating people with dignity and valuing all voices of their freedom. I also showed a degree of and I'm going to mention the finance report. In the leadership team. So, I thought that was really, really, really good. And finally, what we're doing about recruitment was excellent.
Do you know what I liked about that? Great, cool. I like that you two just do that and reflectively. It's all about capsulated in terms of the achievement. All those demonstrated And I thought that was actually great. Has there been anything which we've discussed? Moves us really down to unfortunately is on it. To support Muslims and people who are deeply affected by Israel's war against the Palestinians. It's jarring to see the videos of
And we should regularly in the organisation. What are we don't decide that we've been able to intermittently people how they can access support. We will have read in the previous one of those discussions for a speaker similar concern actually and feel that we'd be happy to continue. Direction of where they can make donations.
Thank you, Rashid. Are there any questions?
So I just wanted to mention about the
work was, had identified that one of
So I have a couple of questions actually. So on caring minds. So it talks in there about the charity, the purpose of the charity being refocused, and it refers in to the data, so on. But has the purpose of the charity changed? If so, has the governing document been?
Yes, on your second point, no. I think what you're trying to do is to because I think traditionally it's come up to the charity committee, which doesn't mean
It's really helpful, so it's about positioning rather than changing fundamentally in the focus.
Exactly. So,
And I can see that the committee was quite recent, so the accounts, have they been submitted, you know?
It will be.
it was actually quite good. To us with pictures and things like that. Which, I'd like to share that to the Council of Government. Yeah, I think, yeah. So I don't know what we can arrange for the actual report itself. It's just
My second one, I was about your update and positive from some of the reports about business cases, and then you were talking about transformation. Sure that business cases, good business cases, rather than it being a kind of a reduction to transformation.
Sort of bottom-up approach, so initiatives all need to be thrown into the mix here. Necessarily within. So it's all of the trusts facing similar issues. It's how we cut that and Sheen touched on a lot of the proactive initiatives that we're doing around services and looking at the system and stakeholder perspective rather than sort of introvertly changing the way we look at these cases. I don't, you know, certainly from a chair of FPP perspective. Anyway.
Okay, element of just to assure the board that this contact of the committee. So the terms of reference, the board planner.
Then lastly, I saw in the minutes from November to reference to secure patient transport being looked at by that's in train, in transit, should we say. Something that covers school.
I think I'll refer to Dave on this one.
So what it is done, there was a discussion. There's a series of other issues in there. And we also go forward and do a one. We've got to make sure we get the right scope around it, but it can. We've not concluded that. So we were actually do that.
So what it is, we initially looked at it from this is the right thing we should be doing, not again. A lot of concerns have come up in relation to who's available to try to sit with. What it means is that we need to take a much wider look at that contract. And we could do that also with other partners, RCS, to be honest. We could do just. Yeah, definitely.
And raising awareness, and they have cakes and different things. Please do, can you stop by if you haven't actually, board members have, but I know. Here's what we've presented in. We are, unfortunately, guys,